Namakwa Horse Trails presents Techniques to Increase Your Safety While Riding Out Alone with Anne Barnes. You may freely use this video to teach you and your horse, but you do so entirely at your own risk.
With 30 years riding and instructing riders and trail riding experience, we have put together a short video with some ideas that should help you feel safer when riding out alone. We realize that everyone has different views on the tack that they use, but we hope we will find some common ground in the video that follows. One of your challenges when riding out is approaching scary objects. Firstly, give your horse time to evaluate the object, but try not to ever allow him to turn around, because then he might actually decide to run away from said object. For those that can, there is the option to dismount and lead your horse towards the scary object. If you want to move past the scary object, I suggest you keep yourself between the scary object and your horse. That way your horse thinks that you're protecting him from the scary object. You need to allow your horse a chance to sniff the monster that concerns him. This will make him more relaxed with it. If your horse halts when approaching a monster or a scary object, allow him to stand until his attention moves off the object. Then apply legs again. Repeat this as often as is necessary until you have reached the monster or the scary object. When navigating tricky paths, it is beneficial to be able to dismount from either side of your horse. If you take a chance and leave a foot in the stirrup, be sure that only your toes are in and that your foot will slip out easily. A horse focuses by looking down at his hooves when negotiating difficult terrain. Remember to allow this within reason. Hunting grazing is a good excuse for putting his head down. If the terrain is such that you need a longer lead on your horse, once you have dismounted him, here is a quick fix using your reins. Using your long lead, when you negotiate rough terrain going uphill, be sure to stay far enough ahead of your horse. When descending rough terrain, your horse needs to lower his head to see where he is going. Here is a brief demonstration of how to quickly shorten your reins if momentum gets the better of your horse. My advice to riders when riding towards or past a suspicious object is to hold the saddle pommel with one hand and the reins with the other. The closer you can stay to your saddle and thus your horse, the greater your chances of staying on should your horse spook. For those of you that are able, here I am demonstrating an emergency dismount. I use this when I see an object such as a car approaching and I'm on a young horse. I don't know how my horse will react to the car, so I get off it and lead it until last. In my opinion, being able to dismount and mount your horse from either side is very important. It makes using opportunistic mounting blocks so much easier. I try to stand my horses square up in front before mounting so that they don't lose their balance and walk off as I get on. The more bomb-proof your horse is with you flapping everything around them, the safer you will be when working with them. Training your horse to stand still when being mounted is also very important. I have also spent time working on being able to ride my horse backwards, as it makes getting out of tricky spots easier. When leading your horse down a steep descent that could be slippery, you want to be slightly more to the side and behind than you normally would be in case they slip. When leading across a slope, stay on the upward side of the slope above your horse. And when maneuvering on difficult surfaces, you need to give your horse time to think for themselves. The slower they move, the safer it is for all concerned. The alternative to using your reins as a longer lead is to ride with a rope halter on under your bridle. We use 3-meter lead reins attached to our rope halters. Remember to tie rope halters with safe knots that don't slip, and make sure the bridle is not pressing on the halter knots.
Would you like to know more about which knots are safe to use on a rope halter? Or perhaps you want to learn how to teach your horse to go backwards? Well, become an Amakwa Horse Trails client and then send Anne your videos, and she will send them back to you with her commentary and advice.